Today on Locked On Red Wings, despite Husso's best efforts, Detroit falls 3-2 in New York.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I'm a podcast producer for the daily JAWWJ News Radio podcast. Well, Scotty's host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Scotty, as soon as you're done adjusting your camera, there we go. On today's episode, guys, we're going to talk about, obviously, the loss to the New York Rangers. Going to tackle what we liked about this game first, and then tackle what we didn't like about this game before finally leading into a preview against the Chicago Blackhawks, because they're playing back-to-backs, one on the road, one at home. You got to love NHL scheduling. It's fantastic. But yes, without further ado, Scotty, how you doing, buddy? Happy Thursday by the time people are listening to this.
Thanks, man. Yeah, happy Thursday. I'll be honest with you. This was a really, really frustrating loss, and not in the sense of expectation necessarily. Not that like down Larkin. We were actually, we were all just going into this game thinking that it was going to be sunshine and rainbows. But I mean, I really wanted to win it. I really wanted to win it. It was a pretty chippy hockey game, pretty physical. I know we're going to talk in a second here about the broadcasting certainly fueled a little bit of the fire there. The reffing fueled a little bit of the fire. That was obviously we came out with the loss, and that's super deflating. Like that is the word. Like I'm very deflated. I really wanted to win that one. About like 12 minutes into the game, I was like, I want this one. And that did not waver. So it's frustrating to lose, but this is going to sound super just like Captain Obviously, but that was some hockey, man. That really was, like, you know what I mean? Like that was good old fashioned puck right there.
Only the best takes for Scotty Bentley.
Yeah. I'm sure that was a rather entertaining hockey game. I'm sure the NHL is very glad that was a nationally broadcasted game, because that was, I'm sure as a third party, probably pretty fun to watch for as deflating as it was at the end.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games. I was telling you this before we started recording. Like, I'm glad that we couldn't immediately go. We had to wait about half an hour after the game ended before we could record, just because of our extenuating life circumstances. And I'm glad that I had the time to think about it. Because you know how I am. I get overly emotional and I overreact. Some people may have seen a little bit of an overreaction on X Twitter before it got deleted when I calmed down. But I mean, there were positives to take away from this game, despite the fact I do think I have a handful of negatives I want to get to in segment 2. But one, there is something to be said about the fact that you're down your captain, Dylan Larkin. You lose Ghost in the second period, I think it is, who was having a fantastic game, by the way. He was killing it in this game. He's been your most productive D-man just flat out all season long, offensively speaking. You lose both those guys. You're not just in the game. You have a lead through the majority of it until about the halfway point of the third period. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Red Wings were playing. They're going full tilt. They're giving a lot of effort. They just weren't necessarily getting the results. And I think part of that is just because I think the Rangers are just a better hockey team. I don't think that there's really much of an argument there, right? Like, the Rangers are if not the best hockey team in the National Hockey League. And I think they kind of edged you out at 5-on-5. They had several big time chances to tie it up, but the Red Wings held on. Offensively, they did bring the forecheck. I thought they had several missed opportunities of their own in the offensive zone. DeBrincat had 5 shots he couldn't find the back of the net on. And, I mean, I'm going to talk about the power play being stifled later, but they did score once on the power play, which does help. Although overall, I think the power play was pretty bad in this game. The penalty kill was also 2 for 2. And we talk about this. This is an incredibly good special teams. So you got 1 power play goal and you shut them out in their 2 power play chances they had. So those are some of the positives that I saw from this game. This wasn't a game where I was frustrated by a lack of effort. The effort was there. They blocked 25 shots, Scotty. Like, you don't block 25 shots from a lack of effort. And there was they stood up for each other too. I mean, when Ghost went down, Clem Costin didn't even see what happened. He heard Ghost go down. He heard the oohs and ahs, dropped his gloves, immediately turned around and
he started barking.
He started biting.
Wow,
He didn't start barking. He started biting.
He's a
And
dog,
that was,
man. Love me some Clem Costin.
So there was a lot of positives. This team had effort in this game. They tried. It just didn't go their way for a myriad of reasons we're going to get into in segment 2.
For sure. Yeah. And again, like, you're behind the 8 ball going into it. And I'm not trying to do like the moral victory thing, because I think we're way past that in terms of like what we should be expecting out of this hockey team at this point in the Iser plan or the roadmap, whatever you want to call it. But like, it's one of those things where like you're going into this game without Larkin, and then while the game's being played, like 85 people get hurt, and you're like, all right, dude, well, like, you know what I mean? Like, Ghost obviously went down in the second, and then you had like Kopp missed a couple of shifts, like he got hit from blocking a shot. Rasmussen got hit in the like lower body, leg, ankle somewhere, and like missed some time, like a few shifts. Like, I mean, genuinely, like people were at one point in the whatever it was, late second, early third, people were just dropping like flies. You already didn't have your best player. I mean, it was really an uphill battle, start to finish, and like it's unbelievably disappointing and frustrating to. I think the broadcast said that we were 9-1-0 when going into the third period with a lead. So
let's not even mention the broadcast. I don't want to talk
about
the TNT
I understand. I'm just saying the graphics team, not the people talking. Sure.
No, I know. I have
I'll
thoughts.
put that stat up, and like obviously that now they're 9-2-0, right? Like it definitely it's always frustrating to blow a third period loss, especially to not even get a point out of it and send it into overtime. There's again a ton of reasons to be like frustrated because of how the game unfolded with the reffing and for people that watched on TV, the broadcasting, but like mostly the on the ice product is what we're focusing on. And like I understand, and I was really, really hot coming off the end of that game, man. I was hot. I was very, very frustrated with that loss. I was maybe frustrated is not even the right word. I was just pissed off that like I really wanted that one, but that was always going to be again, that's one of the best teams in hockey, and you were down players like that. That was going to be an uphill battle.
I mean, Len, let's not forget the biggest player that we have to give flowers to in this game. Ville Husso was unreal.
Husso was fantastic.
I mean, he was going up against one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, and Igor Shesterkin, who, by the way, was also unreal in this game. He made several unreal saves in the Detroit Red Wings, but Ville Husso was very good. I mean, the Red Wings faced 41 shots officially, and he saved all but 3 of them, which gives him a save percentage in this game of .927. Let me see real quick. I have Natural Stat Trick up, but I don't have his exact page up. Double check on his actual like expected goals in this game across all situations. Ville Husso's expected goals against were 4.67.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was terrible. So like,
yeah. And I mean, like, there's definitely some, and when it comes to expected goals against for Ville Husso, there was definitely some missed opportunities that maybe some luck went his way, but that I'm not trying to discount what he did.
They had the one back door wide open net, just completely whiffed on everything. Obvious, like that. Yeah, certainly. But like,
not one, like,
yeah, right. But like, I don't care. I mean, he was fantastic, man. And like, that was one of the I mean, we can get into like the actual gameplay. I mean, that was one of the is worse, like too dramatic. That was one of the poorest like defensive performances we've seen in quite some time for a team that we've been talking about how much better their defense has been, like in their own zone, in the neutral zone. Like we talk about the forecheck all the time. Like for as good as the defense has been during the win streak, and even dating back to like a couple of games before, that all went out the window. This was not a very good defensive performance by this hockey team.
No, it wasn't. And I will expand on that right after this. If you guys are tired of paying exorbitant fees when trying to go see your favorite hockey team, you like that word? Thank you. Thank you. I did go to college, believe it or not. If you're tired of playing exorbitant fees, trying to go to a Red Wings game on certain apps that want to charge you an arm and a leg, and maybe your firstborn while you're at it, to go watch the game in the upper bowl, you should check out Game Time instead, because you don't get that hassle with them. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know exactly what you're getting without hidden fees. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for hockey, football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. And with zone deals, you pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% in savings. So take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings. I want to pick up where you left off there, Scotty, about the defense in this game. And I completely agree. When we're talking about things that frustrated me, that was the biggest thing. And I don't know how much about the defense has to do with skill gap between these two teams. Because again, they put up 40 shots. They had the edge at 5-on-5 in the entire game. The New York Rangers are one of the premier teams in the league. So they're going to make the defense work. And that's part of the reason why they had 25 shots. And if I'm getting credit to the team defense, that's where I'm giving credit, right? They did block 25 shots, but typically, like, blocking 25 shots means you're giving up a lot of shot attempts, right? I mean, and that's 25 blocked shots on top of the 40 shots that made its way to Ville Husso to be saved or in the back of the net in the first place. So they're giving up a lot of shot opportunities. I thought the New York Rangers kind of were swarming, and this game was very close to being a blowout because, like you mentioned there in segment 1, they missed like 3 or 4 wide open opportunities backdoor because the Red Wings, I felt, were puck watching a little bit in the defensive zone, not keeping track of where that late guy or backdoor guy was heading. That guy just continually got left open, 2-on-1s, stuff like that of that nature. And this is where I'm like, is this because the Red Wings didn't come out to play? Because I thought the Red Wings had really high effort in this game. Or is this just a skill gap issue right now? The Red Wings are a lot better. They are. But they still have a room left to grow, right? The Rangers are still, on paper, a better hockey team. And the way that they skate in the offensive zone, and I know this is Locked On Red Wings podcast, and if you want to listen to Locked On Rangers to hear praise for the way they move the puck, John Schick is a fantastic host of Locked On New York Rangers. But their puck movement in the offensive zone is so fluid that I can understand why you'd lose a body or two in the defensive zone, because they just cycle the puck so well. Not even cycling the puck, but they cycle bodies. They're constantly moving and swapping. It's so fluid that I completely understand why guys would go missing, right? So, yeah, it's one of those things where it was very frustrating to watch these guys continually get open backdoor or open in front of the net for a redirection and not be covered. But at the same time, you're kind of like, wow, they really know how to manipulate the offensive zone. It was a little bit of like super frustration that the Red Wings couldn't keep up, but also like, wow, like this is a really good hockey team. Like, and sometimes you just got to give credit where credit's due. I do, as much as I give the Red Wings credit for staying in this game and blocking 25 shots and putting their body on the line to keep it close, I give the Rangers credit for being a really tough opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we already talked about how they're one of the premier teams in the league for sure, and that was, if they were to hold on and win, like I would have, even even if would have got an OT loss or something like that, that would have been again, like, given the circumstances going into this hockey game, like that would have been a successful night. And like, obviously you walk away with 0 points. I don't think there's too many situations that with 0 points is a successful night, but like, just given how everything unfolded, it's, I don't know. I'm very frustrated because like of competitive nature and like watching and being like, oh my gosh, like I'm very angry watching this hockey game and I really want to win because I'm angry. But like, there's a difference between that and like being frustrated about, like what happened on the ice. Was it subpar? Like, absolutely. But it's very difficult after beating some of the teams we've beaten lately. You're already on a 3-game heater, 4 games, 4 games with the opponents we've had mixed in there was going to be very hard. I'm not trying to be like an apologist and be like, okay with the loss. It's just,
you were bound to lose eventually, and you were down 2 of your top talented players. I mean,
right. It's just, you had everything. And I'm going to say, like, you had everything stacked against you in this game. If you want to like continue to be more and more frustrated, that you can throw in, like some of the things that happen in this hockey game as like being behind the 8 ball in there too. Again, like we already talked about some of the time that was missed through like some of the injuries that you had. Some were substantial than others in the game. And there were certainly some questionable calls, honestly, on both ends. But like definitely like Lucas Raymond's, taken away penalty was one of the most ridiculous things I've seen, to be honest.
I disagree with you.
Where he had the hand on the stick, you think Razor threw the stick in his own face?
No.
Oh, okay.
So that was the broadcast being completely biased, that aspect. But
right.
Raymond did grab the stick in an attempt to move it out of the way.
Yeah.
And just because of the way, I can't remember exactly the Ranger player that does. I'm so bad at remembering the other team players in those moments.
I agree with everything you've said so far. So I'm wondering where we're differing.
Okay, so I think I just misunderstood then what you were trying to say. Because I think them calling it back was the right call, but you're right that
I agree with everything you said, and I think calling it back's the wrong call. So like that's all I'm trying to say.
I mean, I think you have to. I think that because you can review that play, and when you review it and you see he grabbed the stick, he was holding the stick, and even though that stick would not have hit him in the face if he had not have grabbed it, not saying he intentionally hit himself, it was an attempt to swat, kind of get it out of the way, but just because of the way that it ended up moving, and what I'm trying to say, like it was.
I get what you're saying, and I also like, I get what you're saying, and I get the rule. I just think that it's. I don't know. Maybe it's a dumb rule, not a dumb call thing in my head then. Because I just think it like that's like clearly the intent of the rule is to prevent what the broadcast said. And like, that's very clearly not what happened.
Well, if you listen to the broadcast, they make it sound as if Raymond was trying to create a ploy to knock his own teeth out to get a call, when in reality, he was just trying to knock the stick out of the way.
Do you want to get something off your chest about the broadcast?
I do. Okay. All right. You know what? We'll get back to the game in a second. This broadcast was dog water. And I don't normally say that. I don't like when people are like, this broadcast is biased. Because, like, yeah, there's going to be little biases here or there. But this was one of the most egregiously biased games I've ever broadcast. Shaming Gostisbehere and DeBrincat for getting hit from behind.
Yeah.
Like they're like, they got to know that hit's coming. How are they supposed to know the hit's coming? They don't have eyes on their back of their head. And both of those times, hits came with the numbers facing out. The body contact came to the back. One guy's like, oh, it came to the back of the shoulder. His numbers were facing out. That's a hit from behind. DeBrincat, clear hit from behind. The broadcast both times is like, oh, that player has to know better. What are you talking about? Are you high? Like, and then this is what got me so emotional after the game, and like that's why I needed to calm down, because this broadcast the entire time was discounting everything that the Red Wings were trying to do to stay in this game. Meanwhile, they're making excuses for why the Rangers were down. I do think ultimately the Rangers played the better game. I do.
Yeah.
But they made it seem like the Rangers were God's gift from the heavens to hockey. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm not trying to say the Red Wings played the better game. I do think overall the Rangers did have a slightly better game. I thought the Red Wings' effort was very good to stay in this and make it a 3-2 loss when everything's all considered. And I'm not trying to apologize and make it okay that they lost, but like all things considered, they played pretty well. But like the fact that the broadcast made it seem like the Rangers could do no wrong and the Red Wings were the accusation that Raymond intentionally tried to knock his own teeth out is absurd to me. And this broadcast, this is where one of those things where, like, because I try so hard to, like, I don't want to blame the refs, right? Like, I'm frustrated by the reffing in this game, not because I thought it was bad, but it was bad because it was inconsistent. The Red Wings had 5 power plays. They had plenty of opportunities to take this game. 5 power plays to the New York Rangers 2. Like, It was the non-calls that killed me, not the fact that the Red Wings didn't get chances. But and when it comes to broadcasting, I try not to be like, oh, this broadcast sucks, because there's always going to be a little bit of bias involved when people are calling games. Like, it's just inherently about people. Now, the good ones can cover it up. The not so good ones, not so much. And this one was such a blatant example of not so good ones that I the entire time I'm boiling mad. And it takes a lot for me to care this much about a broadcast. Like, even broadcasts I think that are crap, I can just be like, whatever, I'm still watching Red Wings hockey. But this one, it was just, Husso made a fantastic save in the second period, and they didn't even talk about it. They just swept it over under the rug and got right back to talking about the Rangers. And I was like, dude, come on. So yes, I had thoughts on the broadcast, Scotty.
I'm glad you got that off your chest, big dog.
What do you think about the broadcast?
I don't disagree with anything you said, Brian.
What were we talking about before the broadcast?
I don't remember.
All right. We'll get back into this. I actually do have a couple more pros.
We're talking about the razor penalty for sure. I mean, we can talk about like all the penalties, honestly. There was a few, interesting calls to say the least. But
so, yes, there are.
Let's go to break.
Let me recover. I'm flustered now, but we'll recover. Just like you're going to recover your car if you go to eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast.
Man, that is such a bar. Burn rubber, not cash, baby. That gets me fired up.
Yeah, that entire
that's a bar. That's got to be in in some song here at some point. Burn rubber, not cash.
So, yes, you're correct. But with regards to the Red Wings, we were talking about things that frustrated us. The last thing that frustrated me in this game that I want to bring out is the power play really struggled. I know they scored one power play goal that came after. The first minute and a half of that power play, they couldn't enter the zone because the Rangers' penalty kill is superb. And then Moritz Seider got the puck at the blue line. It was just like, I'm
right. Yeah. Rip it. Also, the zone entry all game was goodness gravy, man. And again, like we talk about the Rangers and just how good of a team they are, but like that, goodness, there was, you were missing Dylan Larkin, I think, in that aspect of the hockey game more than probably any other. There was no zone entry this entire game.
Yeah, it's just really frustrating, and it showed its ugly head a lot on that power play. And it comes down to it, like, we can talk and be frustrated all we want at the inconsistent reffing. Like, those blatant missed calls were awful. And then there were a couple power plays the Red Wings did get that even the two that the Rangers got, I thought were weak calls. So, like, ticky-tack calls.
I agree. It was both ways, man. It was crazy inconsistent.
But that's not to say the Red Wings didn't get their chances, right? 5 power plays. You only scored one goal the entire time. You couldn't really get anything going. Failed to get into the zone. Failed to really move the puck and get anybody open. And then at the end of the game, with 2 minutes left, you have a power play. You pull the goalie, go to 6-on-4, and all you do is pass. Like, and I don't want to be shoot the puck guy. I was really close. I don't want to be shoot the puck guy, though. But you got to at least put the puck on net to try and generate a rebound. I understand you want to have the best possible shooting lane, but when you're against the Rangers penalty kill, and it's one of the best in the league, and it proved itself in this game for a myriad of reasons, you're not going to have that perfect one-timer opportunity like you did against the Wild twice. This is a penalty kill, and you saw it. Very different from the Wild. This was an aggressive penalty kill from the New York Rangers. They weren't afraid to chase the puck. They weren't afraid to put the pressure on you. And it's such a stark difference that the Red Wings are scrambling in the offensive zone on their own penalty kill, trying to find someone to pass it to and create opportunities, so much so that they gave up a couple shorthanded opportunities to the Rangers because that penalty kill was so good. So and that's what, and boiling it back down, that's what makes this game the most frustrating, right? Like the effort was there, but it's not also like they didn't have chances to take this game and tie it or even take the lead late. Like there were opportunities, there were inconsistent reffing. There was just a lot. All in all, it was a really annoying game. But Ville Husso played really freaking good.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but it's worth mentioning again. If we want to end on a high note, praising Husso is definitely, he was really good, man. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to add.
I do think if we want to, and more positives, the top line, I thought JT Compher, DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond did actually look pretty darn good. Obviously, no goals between them, but they were still generating plenty of chances. They just couldn't find the back of that. Shane Gostisbehere was really good.
I like the grit rating, the dog rating of everybody really on the team all game. Not afraid to have the game police itself, we'll say.
Yeah, and I do think Fabbri's kind of an underrated guy. Like,
dude, Fabbri's on a crazy goal scoring clip right now.
This is what he can bring when he's healthy.
5 and 9?
Something like that.
He has 5 and 9.
He's just like, he's like that perfect middle six winger when he's healthy. He's that guy you want in the lineup, but he's
got great hands, man.
He does. And great release. Like he's got a pretty good finishing ability. So yeah, all in all, to end it and, get back to square one for the game against the Chicago Blackhawks, it was a frustrating game for a myriad of reasons, but it had some good things to come out from it as well. I mean, this is a really tough team, and the Red Wings played them really hard. You just couldn't close it out for, again, myriad of reasons. Just so much in this game. We could spend 45 minutes breaking this one down, but we don't have that much.
A lot of factors in this one.
Let's move on to the Chicago Blackhawks, Scotty, and hopefully the Red Wings move on to the Chicago Blackhawks as well, because this is a team that is down bad in the worst ways.
Can I just list off where the Blackhawks rank in just team counting stats right now? Please do. Goals for a game, 30th. Goals against a game, 29th. Goal differential, 31st. Power play percentage, 30th. Their power play, guess their power play percentage without looking.
I know where they rank. I don't know their percentage. Let's see. 15%.
It is 9.2% at the time of this recording. Penalty kill, 20th. That's like their best thing is their penalty kill, and it's 20th. Save percentage, 882. That's 26th. And they are the worst team in the NHL in my favorite stat in the faceoff circle. So, their faceoff percentage as a team is 44%, dude. Like, they are in the bottom of the barrel and everything. Obviously, this is an old school rival that you're playing at home. Obviously, the Patrick Kane thing just happened. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Blackhawks organization that we don't have to talk about that I'm sure Jack Bushman is covering fantastically, as he always does over at Locked On Hawks. Like, this is just a game that there is really no excuse to lose.
No, there really isn't. I mean, this team's 7-13-0. They're 8th in the Central Division. They're bad by design, and they just lost one of their highest productive forwards in Corey Perry. His contract got terminated. Right. Don't believe the rumors that you guys are saying, by the way. Those are some disgusting rumors. Not cool, and they are not true. Don't only believe what you see from trusted sources like Emily Kaplan or Elliot Friedman. Don't believe the rumors you guys are seeing.
Yeah, more and more of that's going to come out. It's not going to be pretty.
But regardless of any of that controversy surrounding Corey Perry, again, let Jack Bushman handle the Corey Perry stuff. Yeah. Not my jurisdiction. He was on pace for 50-plus points at 38 years old. He was going to be one of their few players that could produce. And now without him, you have Connor Bedard, who's off to actually a pretty good, slow start at first, but has really began to turn it on. He's got 17 points in 20 games, 10 goals, 7 assists. Philip Kurashev's got 12 points in 14. Jason Dickinson's got 12 and 20. They don't have a single player on their team who's a point per game. The only real threat is Corey Perry offensively. Goaltending, Peter Mrazek, former Detroit Red Wings, is doing a decent job holding up that roster, all things considered. A .906 save percentage for him in 12 games is pretty impressive, especially in a year where league average save percentage is, I think, beneath that. I believe 906 was the league average save percentage last year. And I think it's even dipped worse than that so far this year. So, I mean,
the only offensive threat was Perry. Did you mean Bedard?
Bedard, yes. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me on that.
I was
Bedard,
going to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure Bedard has like 20 something points and would be like close to leading. I'm pretty sure Larkin leads the wings and goals at 12 and Bedard has 11. Like he's here, man. The kid's the truth, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where, we joked about the keys of the game against the Rangers was, play a perfect game, where in this case, the keys against the Blackhawks are take care of business. It's like the polar opposite. This team is bottom of the barrel in every reasonable or every conceivable metric, every measurable metric, that this should be a game, especially pissed off about how that game against the Rangers went. You come back home against the Chicago Blackhawks and you drop 5-6 goals on them. I'm not saying they're going to, but like, you have to beat this team by any means necessary. I mean, I'll be disappointed if it's overtime or a shootout, but I just want 2 points. Like, this is a team you have got to take care of business against, especially again, like we had the conversation yesterday about you're the Detroit Red Wings. You're trying to prove you're a real threat, a real contender. So you got to play well against the New York Rangers. I think they accomplished that goal in some aspects and not in others. Now against the Chicago Blackhawks, you're trying to be a playoff contender. Good teams beat up on bad teams. So
yeah. Good teams beat teams they're supposed to win, man. Or beat teams they win games they're supposed to win. We'll word it better.
Go. That'll work.
Yeah, man. Like this is again, there's really like no excuse. Like even if Larkin doesn't play, I don't care. Like there's there's no excuse to lose this hockey game. I am interested in who they put in net. I feel like this is a really, really good Lion opportunity, but potentially if you want to go like even a Reimer opportunity given like the opponent, like I don't want to make it like I don't want to be too like, I don't know, disrespectful to like the opponent in terms of like on ice product, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh, we can just throw anyone in net, we'll win. Like this is still a professional hockey team that has 7 wins on the season, but
they're a tanking team though, and you can call them that. Like this is they're designed to be bad right now. They're going through a rebuild. Like you're not disrespecting them by saying like this is a bad team by design.
No, not what I'm saying. I just mean in like the game plan that you throw out there. You can't just be like lollygag and just be like, oh yeah, like do whatever, and you have no reason to lose. So we're whatever, we can throw anyone in net. We can do anything with lines and whatnot. I am really interested in who they put in net. I think you could really go any of the 3, to be completely honest with you. So I'm interested in what they'll do for that. But yeah, there's really. This is over at on the Tigers show. I used to always complain that every like pitcher that was struggling throughout the season would use the Tigers as like their get right game. And it drove me nuts because the Tigers would always get shut out against people that were struggling. And like, this is your get right game. Like this is, you had a 3-game win streak. You just dropped the game. Now you're back at home against a team you have no business losing to. This is your get right game where you can get back on the horse named Friday and carry about your business.
Yeah. I mean, like, and you're right. I mean, I don't have anything else to add. I don't know why I set it up like I had more to add. You're right. You're spot on.
Cool. It happens sometimes.
I mean, we agree on most things, so it's cool.
Not often.
Anyways, I mean, I guess the only other thing to be like Patrick Kane and Steve Eisman spoke to the media today. I think the most important thing that came out of that was that they expect him to play sometime in the next 7 to 10 days as of Wednesday. Like, so Kane said earliest Buffalo, but they think it probably more than likely will be a little bit later than that in the week. So December 7th against San Jose is the date I personally have circled, but I'm not an insider, so I don't actually know that. Just based on what I heard from those press conferences, seems like it's going to be a likely day. But in Buffalo would be cool because that's his hometown. So
yeah. He said that was like the earliest one, but the next 2 games after that were probably more realistic, and I believe him. So
yep. All right. That does it. Any final thoughts?
I don't think so.
Oh.
That was crazy. I almost just choked on myself. We ball. I'm crying.
God, we are having one today. Same time,
that was really
same
brutal.
place. It's your team every day.
Every day.